Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here. In today's video, I'll be talking about Bhayshul Tuten, who just absolutely dominated the combine today, and if the Washington Commanders should consider drafting him on day 2. I'll also be talking about some other running backs that had good performances, maybe some that didn't have good performances as well. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Let's try to get 16,000 subscribers by the draft. So let's get right into it. My guy Bhayshul Tuten, who goes to Virginia Tech, or I guess will be graduating shortly, I believe. I said earlier today, I think people are going to start talking about him after he runs a 40 and the other stuff at the combine, and he did. People are starting to talk about him 4.32. I do go to Virginia Tech, so I am a little bit biased when it comes to Bhayshul Tuten, but just because of everything he did for Virginia Tech these last couple years. But let's go over his stats. 40-yard dash, 4.32 40-yard dash, the fastest by far out of anyone at the combine. I think the second fastest was like a 4.39 or 4.38 by the SMU guy. 10-yard split, 1.49. That's the fastest out of anyone. Vertical jump, 40.5 inches. 40.5 inches. First out of anyone. I mean, anything over 36, 37 is pretty dang good. And he got basically a 41-inch vertical. And his broad jump was 10 feet, 10 inches. Second in, out of running backs. These numbers are absolutely insane. I mean, I knew, and I think a lot of people knew he was going to do well at the combine, which was going to increase his stock. But if you really think about it, like, these scouts knew he was going to maybe not do this, but they knew he was going to at least be solid, but it's maybe the general public that didn't know. So it did impact his draft stock a little bit, and probably impacted the public board, but in terms of the scouts and stuff, it probably didn't impact it a ton because they already knew a lot of this, but it definitely did impact a little bit where he's going to go. He definitely improved his draft slot, but 4.32 speed, that's something Commanders don't have at the running back position. That's elite speed. Not a lot of guys can run 4.32, and he did that, and it shows on the tape too. It shows on the tape. Vertical jump, he's super explosive. Let's look at his stats before we talk about some other running backs. And like I said, I've watched a lot of Bhayshul Tuten, so definitely am a little bit biased, but I believe he is one of the better running backs in this class. So this past year for Virginia Tech, 183 carries, 1,159 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns, had an 83-yard run. I believe that was against Boston College, a game that I actually did not go to. 23 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I will say he is a little bit more of a receiving back than he showed in 2024, just didn't really do it as much. And the yards per catch were, very low compared to his other years. I mean, 23 yards per catch when he was at NCAT, North Carolina A&T. So, and the year before, 239 yards receiving, 9 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns. He is a 3-down back. He can pass protect, he can run the football, and he can catch the football as well. So this is a guy that can come in, play day 1 for the Commanders. I would not mind taking him on day 2. Second round, maybe not, but third round, I would jump on the opportunity to take Bhayshul Tuten. I think he's, he, from all accounts, people I've talked to, he's a really good guy. Or he's a good guy, and would be a great fit for the Commanders. Returning, and I don't know him on a personal level, so that's why I can't speak too much on it. But kickoffs, returned 3 this year for 71 yards, but the year before did really well. Returning kicks, 19 kicks, returned 550 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 99-yard return. So he did really well returning the football as a kick returner, and showed off his explosive speed. I mean, 4.32, that's very, very good. And Virginia Tech has done a pretty good job of developing running backs over the last few years. There have been successful running backs out of Virginia Tech in the NFL. Not like studs, but some decent guys like Khalil Herbert, a couple other guys. You got David Wilson a while back who had a really good rookie year and then, had that career-altering injury where he couldn't play football anymore. But Bhayshul Tuten, I would absolutely take him on day 2. I don't know if he can, be a 20 carry guy a game. He did it at Virginia Tech, but people might be like wanting him to be a complimentary back. I think he can do it all, but again, like I said, teams might view that differently. But he didn't have a lot of games with over 20 carries. You look at it, a lot of them were right around 20 carries. But he did a really good job this past year for Virginia Tech, and I think he can take on that workload and be a running back one in this league. But maybe he needs to have another guy with him, like a Jahmyr. I'm not comparing him to Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm comparing the situation to the Lions. Maybe a Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery situation. Maybe you have Bhayshul Tuten. You got Brian Robinson as that, David Montgomery type of back. Maybe he can start playing a little bit better than he did, in the past year. Or you can get another running back in free agency, and you got Austin Eckler still, but I think it would be a much better running back room when you got Bhayshul Tuten in there. His NFL comparison from Lance Zierlein's Isaiah Pacheco. You see some of his strengths, good speed. He's got very good vision as well. I forgot to talk about that. And for a smaller guy, he got listed at like 5'9", close to 5'10" at the combine. He can run over guys. He is, he's a speed back, but he definitely can run over guys, and he has that power to put his shoulder down and truck a couple guys. He talks about the kick returner, some other stuff as well here, some of the weaknesses, some ball security issues. Let's see, will bounce a run wide instead of trusting, blah blah blah. Has trouble securing passes that are outside of his frame. I will say, this year he started out insane. Let's look at the game log, but he definitely, the last few games, or not last few games, but there was a little bit of a stretch here, and that Clemson game was one of those where he was injured and dealing with a pretty bad injury, and he was playing through it. Not in terms of a season-long injury or anything, but like it was hard to play through it, and it definitely impacted those weeks. This Georgia Tech game to the Duke game, it definitely impacted him for sure. But bounced back at UVA and had some big games. You see his Boston College game, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's a stud. I would love for the Commanders to take him. Let's talk about some other running backs and their performance. So Tuten was the star of the day. You got Jaden Blue, who was one of the first runners, had a 4.38. Brashard Smith, the SMU guy, 4.39. Harvey 4.4, the UCF guy. Saw someone comment him the other day under my video. I think he would be a good option. Trevor Etienne was okay. Henderson, a little bit slower than people thought. 4.43 is still a good time, but a little bit slower than people thought for him. Like, you look at Henderson versus Judkins, and there's only a 0.05 difference, and the weight is a big difference. I don't know. I think that's a little bit disappointing for Henderson, but, it is what it is. Omarion Hampton ran right around where people thought he would, 4.46. I think that's a solid time for him. Caleb Johnson was not very good, 4.57, but I think he's a little bit faster than that on, watch his tape or highlights. I haven't watched his tape, but his highlights. But a little bit disappointing for him. There were some other times. The receivers are going to run today as well. That should be interesting. I think Bond, the Texas guy, that will be good to see if he ends up, breaking the 40-yard dash record. But Bhayshul Tuten stole the show today, was a star of the day, 4.32, 149, 40.5-inch vertical, broad jump of 10. I'm sorry I'm gassing him up, but he deserves to be, and he's going to be drafted on day 2, and I would not mind the Commanders taking him. If they can't get one of those top guys, the top 5 running backs like Genty, Hampton, Henderson, Judkins, I think he's in that next tier, Tuten, and I would not, I think it would be a good idea to take him if you can't get any of those guys, and you can get them on day 2 in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe 4th round. I think that's what stock was before. I think 3rd round is the sweet spot. I think someone is going to take a swing on him, and maybe he'll go a little bit earlier than people are thinking, just because of the elite traits. The downsides, I talked about it, maybe some of the fumbling issues. I don't think that's a huge deal. I think it'll be fine. And then also, the size, some people have an issue with that. I don't think it's a big issue. Jahmyr Gibbs isn't that big. DeAndre Swift, just come on. Like, it's not, running back's not a position where you got to be 6 foot, 6'1". So he's listed at 5'11", on ESPN Virginia Tech's site, but he's not 5'11". He's a little bit shorter than that. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and comment down below. If you stayed till the end, comment down below who you want the Commanders to take. What running back on day 2, day 3, or maybe even day 1. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace. Go Hokies.